Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Andrew Yang, and we're going to talk about something really special about the December 19th, Los Angeles, PBS NewsHour, Politico, debate number 6, right? And that is specifically all the only attributes that now belong to each of the candidates in the December 19th Los Angeles PBS NewsHour, Politico, debate number 6, right? Because this truly is going to be an incredible debate, right? One of the things that's going to happen in this debate is we're going to have the fewest competitors ever for Andrew Yang, right? So Andrew Yang is sitting at an incredibly small group, right? Now the reality is, so let's talk about all the competitors, right? You have Yang, then you have Steyer, Buttigieg, Klobuchar, and then you have Biden, Sanders, and Warren, right? Now, you could take Steyer and you can set him off in the corner, right? And the reason why is everybody else, Yang, Buttigieg, Klobuchar, Biden, Sanders, Warren, they have all been completely dedicated to this process. And they've been in every single debate, right? Andrew Yang is one of only six candidates that has made every debate, right? And I'm a I have 4 children, and I have watched literally 4 different children play through the Spyro video games. And there's a part where in the Spyro video game you fly through these rings, and it's like ding 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 ding. And the reality is, Andrew Yang is little Spyro just flying through the rings, and you hear that ding each time he goes through, through the rings, right? And you get to the end and there's victory, and it's exciting. And I've watched that a million times. I've watched literally every single one of my 4 kids play through that video game. And it really feels like the debates feel like this, right? And also, Spyro goes against competitors and they fall off, right? They miss a ring, right? And you don't win because you lose points, you lose ground when you don't go through the ring, right? And so it's really incredible that Andrew Yang is here, one of only 6 candidates who would have made it through every single ring, right? And it's challenging, and he has overcome every single obstacle to be this amazing competitor. And it's really special, and we've arrived at an incredible moment in time for Andrew Yang, right? And one of the things is, Yang has clearly struggled with this Yang media blackout, where they've just really unfair, tried to push him, out of the spotlight, tried to not acknowledge the achievements he's done. And it's frustrating, right? But when there's only 7 people on the stage, you get a chance at having better questions, you get a chance at having more time, because there are literally less ways for the debate hosters to kind of, maneuver different effects to make it harder for Yang to stand out, to make it harder for Yang's incredible intelligence to show, to make it harder for Andrew Yang's awesome humor to show, to make it to at this point, with only 7 people in the mix, right? Every single one of these debates, we have a higher chance of that boom moment, that special, absolutely devastating quip, just like a real ninja move against another opponent. And each time we get it closer there. All right. Now, one of the things that's really incredible is because we now only have 7 real competitors, right? 7 real primary race candidates. Everybody else, you can count them out. Anybody who's missed a single debate, you can count them out, right? Like, they're not going anywhere, trust me, right? If you can't make the debates, you certainly can't be president, because that is far more difficult, right? And right now, this is the real criteria, right? Can you get donors in mass? And can you show actual progress in the polls? And Andrew Yang has fought and scraped and overcome every obstacle, and he is our champion, and he's right where he needs to be, right? But going into this, because there's only 7 people, there's these patterns that have emerged, and basically each candidate has a unique area that they have cut out that they have either cut out for themselves or that they have found themselves in, where they are the only X. Right, and we're going to go through them. Every single one of the candidates is unique in a very surprising way. Not all of these are good. Some of them are just surprising. In fact, I'm not sure any of these are good, right? Like, maybe some of them are good. We'll see. All right. So, but I wanted to say about the unique factors of each of these candidates. So let's jump right in. Okay. All right. So Andrew Yang, what is his unique factor in this race? Well, this one is not good. It is terrible that we are here. But in debate number 6, Andrew Yang is the only person of color that is going to be on stage. He is the only person who is not white. That is incredible. Now, I understand what you're thinking. You think I'm going to roll hard on the Democrats and the DNC, right? I'm not, right? Like, because the reality is, this is a problem, right? This is absolutely a problem, right? But nobody can roll up on the Democrats or the DNC about this issue. And the reason why is the Republicans, to my knowledge, have never, ever, once had a single person of color run in the general election. Not once. Not once, right? So the fact that we're in debate 6 and there's only one person of color in the debate, and multiple people of color have been nixed out of the debates, right, based on lack of performance, you can't really hold that against the Democrats and the DNC because they're progressing this issue so much more than the Republicans, right? But it is shocking that Andrew Yang is going to be the only person of color up there. Already, groups have come out and said, hey, actually media sites have been saying, hey, are you going to represent all people of color? Andrew Yang had a great answer for this. He's like, I can't, right? He's like, I'm Asian American. I cannot speak to all the different experiences that different people have in this race. So it's just, I can only speak to, what my experience is, right? And that's very honest, and I think it's very real, right? That's a really surprising distinction, but it's real, and we need to acknowledge it. Like, Andrew Yang is the only person of color who could outperform literally 2/3 of the other competitors, right? Who is a person of color. And we'll be unpacking that for years after this debate, right? And it's big. It's a big moment, right? It's not a good distinction, but it is a distinction, and we need to be aware of it, right? Because it means certain things, right? And so Andrew Yang needs to be careful as he moves into there. And the reality is, I think it gives him a little bit more room to move on some issues. He'll be able to speak maybe a little more genuinely to some issues than all these other candidates who, for them, minority problems are an abstract concept, right? Where for Andrew Yang, minority problems are not an abstract concept. They're literally obstacles he has to overcome his entire life, right? All right, let's talk about Tom Steyer, right? What is his distinction? He is the only billionaire in this debate. And we, Andrew Yang supporters, Yang Gang, we got real problems with Tom Steyer here, because Tom Steyer is going to be able to cut out a specific set of American voters, right? Now, Tom Steyer will be there. He'll be able to speak to his base, right? Now, what is Tom Steyer's base? Well, it's yacht owners who have to deal with multiple port city problems, right? So if you have a yacht and you dock your yacht in New York, but then you get your yacht painted in Genoa, Italy, right? But then when you have a tech refresh, when you update the Wi-Fi on your yacht, when you replace all your 4K screens in there, your 75-inch 4K screens on your yacht with 8K screens, he is uniquely positioned to speak to those American voters. So if you're an American billionaire and you own a yacht and you have 3 different international port cities, one domestic and 2 international port cities, and you have to shuffle getting your yacht from its dock in New York City to getting it painted in Genoa, Italy, to getting it tech refreshed in Osaka, Japan, Tom Steyer's got you covered, right? And every single one of those American voters, Andrew Yang doesn't have he doesn't have a prayer of capturing any of those billionaires with multiple port city problems. And Yang Gang, we just have to live with that, right? We're not able to speak to those Americans. And frankly, it's just a fact. And, we just have to deal with that problem. And we're going to lose those voters, right? Every single one of those millionaires with multiple, international, domestic, port city, yacht problems, only Tom Steyer can really speak to that base and can really understand their genuine, very real, very emotionally disturbing problems of multiple port city yacht problems, right? Tom Steyer's got that locked up. we have a lot of work to do. I think maybe we can try to gain some votes in other areas, to make up for for the billionaires who have yacht problems. Hopefully, I don't know. Maybe we'll be able to make it. All right, so let's talk about Pete Buttigieg. He has a really unique, only him parameter, and that is he is the only Rhodes Scholar on the stage. Now, what is a Rhodes Scholar? Well, it's someone who won a scholarship to study at Oxford over in Great Britain, right? And he's just carved out this really distinct number of American voters that only he can speak to and only he can solve their problems, right? So one, if you're a Rhodes Scholar, right, and you write poetry and you have a bunch of calligraphy pens and you have a bunch of inkwells, those aren't tax deductible. You got a genuine problem there, right? And no candidates are speaking to this. But Pete Buttigieg is there. He can understand these problems because he is a Rhodes Scholar, right? He can help you he can set into place real policies and real policies that will allow calligraphy pens and inkwells to be tax deductible. He's got Andrew Yang beat here. That's a problem for us as Yang Gang. We have to deal with that, right? We're going to lose every single Rhodes Scholar in America who has too many calligraphy pens and has inkwells, in scads, we're going to lose them all because it's not tax deductible. And Andrew Yang didn't think ahead, and become a Rhodes Scholar, and we're going to lose those voters, right? It's a very real problem. In addition, when you go to Oxford, right, let's say you really fall in love with cricket. Then you come back to America and you're talking about cricket, but everybody else is talking about baseball, right? Those people, that is a source of woe. That is a source of emotional distress that only Pete Buttigieg can speak to, right? And he's going to be able to project that on December 19th. He's going to be like, hey, everybody over there who won the Rhodes Scholar like I did, and I'm the only person standing on this stage. I'm the only one who really feel your pain. You don't have anybody to discuss cricket with, right? But I'm here for you, and I got you covered, Rhodes Scholar Americans. Again, as Yang Gang, we have real problems that we just have to move past, right? We have to keep our heads up and just realize we are going to lose every Rhodes Scholar American voter. Pete Buttigieg just got him locked up. There's nothing we could do about it, right? Sometimes you have to understand your limitations, right? Okay. Let's talk about Amy Klobuchar, the only Heartland stalwart on the stage. She is the only person on that stage who understands what it means to live in a city or in a state where your conservatives have said, hey, look at that flyover state, and be ignored by the coastal elites. That is a very, very interesting distinction. I think it's a good distinction. I wish that Andrew Yang could speak to Heartland stalwarts the way Amy Klobuchar can. She is really good at this, and right now, especially with Iowa coming up and all that kind of thing, being able to be the only Heartland stalwart in here who can really speak to those issues is big. It's important, right? So now, what should Andrew Yang do about this one, right? Because the reality is, with Tom Steyer and Pete Buttigieg, those voter bases are locked, right? So I think what I would do is, I really do think that Pete, maybe he should be ready to understand what kind of attacks might come from Amy Klobuchar as the only Heartland stalwart, right? And she can use that kind of gritty, worker spirit, and also like the unique mindset that comes from a Heartland stalwart. Yeah, so he should just be ready for him to come at her with something directly from that angle, right? And I think he should definitely talk to his people before he goes in, because she might be able to land some blows, right, with that really unique parameter. Joe Biden, holy cows, this is incredible. He is the only impeachment component candidate, right? He's the only Democrat, not just that's going to be on the stage, right? And by the way, everything I'm mentioning here, these people are the only person that will stand on the stage with that parameter. Joe Biden is not only the only person that will stand on the stage on December 19th with the impeachment component candidate unique parameter. He is the only person in American history. He is the only person in American history to run as a primary candidate while his name is literally listed in the articles of impeachment against a standing president, right? So you're running against the standing president, but your name is listed full Joseph R. Biden in the articles of impeachment. You are literally a component of what is being used to impeach your competitor. That is truly unique, right? Now the reality is, I'm not sure that's going to help Biden in any way. I don't think it is. And the reason why is the media continues to insist that everything that happened with Joe Biden and everything that happened with Hunter Biden is above board, right? Even though during that time in Ukraine, corruption in Ukraine was a bipartisan concern, right? But the reality is, at this point, you got to give it to him. Joe Biden is the only candidate, he's the only impeachment component candidate that has ever existed in American history. Truly unique, all right? Woo, Bernie Sanders. Let's talk about him. Wow. All right, Bernie Sanders, what is his unique parameter? He is the only primary race heart attack survivor candidate. He is the only candidate in history to ever publicly run in the primary, publicly have a heart attack, publicly survive that heart attack, publicly immediately, within 2 weeks, rejoin the race, right? And immediately compete as a heart attack survivor that has happened weeks or months before, right? We have never, ever seen this, right? Now, the reality is, we could talk about, what does this mean for Andrew Yang? And what it really means for Andrew Yang is, I think Andrew should acknowledge the new industries that Bernie is building and thank Bernie for these new industries. Like, he could say, hey, Bernie, thank you that you are building the new heart attack survivor Everest climbing industry, right? The new heart attack survivor marathon industry, right? Training and equipment and clothing and merch for heart attack survivors who are going to run marathons, open up their own business, get a new degree, right? All these things that are high stress, incredibly physically demanding, incredibly intellectually demanding, right? And really just thank Bernie Sanders for what he's doing, which is like establishing that rest is incredibly un-American, and that Americans drive, right? And that if you're an American, you have a heart attack, and you best be ready to work within 2 weeks. That is so American, right? Because the reality is, Bernie's right. We as Americans have been lazy and unmotivated and have rested too much, right? We're only 100 yards away from the latest, from the country that's running behind us. And we really need to get our running shoes on. Bernie's right. Heart attack, back to work within 2 weeks. Let's get it, right? That is straight American, right? That is so cool and so American. And I think Yang has to give him the points. He has to thank Bernie for just demonstrating to people that in America, we are not driven enough. We are not motivated enough, right? We are getting lazy compared to what we used to be. Not any other country in the world, right? I think in other countries, a lot of people are like, oh, if you have a heart attack, you should rest. You should take care of yourself. You shouldn't strain yourself physically. Or maybe you shouldn't strain yourself intellectually. Or maybe you shouldn't strain yourself emotionally. Totally un-American. Totally lame. Bernie's right. Just work to the grave, man. Drive right to it, right? If you have a heart attack, back to work within 2 weeks. Totally American. I love it, right? And Andrew Yang's got to give him the points and acknowledge it. I think it's important. We really have to understand what Bernie is crying to everyone with the actions. He's saying, America, you need to be more driven. You need to be more motivated. We need more businesses. We need get out there. Stop being lazy, America. You had a heart attack. Get up. You've already been down for a week. Move on, right? It is incredibly inspiring. I love it. All right. Let's talk about Warren. So with Warren, I think the thing that's really distinct about Warren is Elizabeth Warren is the only candidate on there who was shortlisted to be Hillary Clinton's VP, right? It shows a really strong resonance with Clinton, right? And I have to say, again, problem for Yang Gang, right? All the people that really resonated with Hillary Clinton, who really resonated with Bill Clinton, right? Because Hillary Clinton, she learned how to govern when she watched her husband do it, right? And like, you can't discount that. She was right there in the White House. Like, she saw how you receive a world leader, right? And she had same friends, same people, same allies. Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, same people, right? Like, same allies and friends and, connections, right? They have a shared world. They're husband and wife. They're incredibly close, really close, right? And Warren's got us beat. Warren has Yang beat here. Yang was never on Hillary Clinton's, short list to be VP for her, right? So, and the reality is everybody who vibed with, that Hillary Clinton energy, Warren's got it locked up, right? So we as Yang Gang, we have to understand where there's some limitations. It's going to be hard for us to pry away those Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton fans, right? Especially the people who are really down with like Bill Clinton's allies and Bill Clinton's previous friends, those kind of people. We could lose some of them, right? And then also, with Pete Buttigieg again, we just really can't speak to those American Road Scholars. And with Steyer, all those people that have those multiple port yacht problems, Steyer's got it all locked up. So we're just going to have to do what we can, and I think Yang is positioned to do really well. And he's going to get a lot of talk time, and I'm incredibly excited to see what he has to say. All that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your opinion. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.